Welcome, weary adventurers, to the Artsy Tavern. I'm not a professional artist, but I am a graphic designer. I've always really enjoyed being creative, but I really never thought that I would be able to learn to draw or paint to the ability that I've seen a lot of artists reach. But throughout my career, just through sketching little thumbnails and layouts and working on more illustrative projects, I really started to see my ability to grow, and I really want to develop on that. So I decided to open the Artsy Tavern and explore art in all of its different wonderful mediums, and hopefully we can watch together as my skill level grows and grows, and hopefully one day I'll be able to reach some of the levels of these other artists on YouTube that are just amazing. Alright, so let's get started. I thought the best way to kick off would be to draw a tavern wench for our little fantasy tavern here. Yeah, so for our tavern wench, I decided to go for, I guess she'd be a tiefling, but really I just wanted to incorporate the goat horns because I love goats, and that's just a lot of fun for me. I want her to be really quite warm and inviting and approachable, just like you'd expect at like a nice little relaxing tavern. Unlike other taverns, this one, no one's going to ask you to go on any crazy quests or anything like that. You're just going to come in, there's going to be candlelight, plenty of ale and beer and meat and wine, and everyone would just kick back and enjoy the arts. So that's what we're going for. So let's get started with just putting down a base sketch. The materials that I'm using for this are really super basic, partly because I don't want to spend a lot of money on any particular medium just yet, because I'm still testing out a lot of things. I've always really enjoyed painting, but I do know that I need to work a lot on it, and I don't want to go and buy a bunch of crazy expensive supplies just to later decide, actually, I prefer watercolor. So I just picked up some really basic, just own brand paint from the local craft store. I just went over there, picked up just their basic primary colors, and a few cheap paintbrushes, just some basic pencils. Nothing too fancy, and I'm just going to mix all my own colors. I quite like mixing my colors. I think it helps you understand the color wheel and color theory. So that's what I'm going to do. Drawing humans or humanoids is pretty new to me. I think as many people starting out on their art journey probably can relate, doing human features and getting it to look right can be really daunting, especially if you're doing characters or sketches based on actual people, which is probably why I like to do fantasy characters. I can't offend anyone if I get their proportions way off, but I'm still a bit nervous because there's definitely some things that need a lot of work in my skill set, like drawing facial features, getting the eyes symmetrical enough and not looking all wonky, and pupils in the right spot can be really hard. Also, the bane of everyone's existence, drawing hands. Hands are so hard. But we're gonna do our best, we're gonna see how we get on, and who knows, maybe in a year from now we'll come back to this and draw her again and see how much we've grown. Now that I've laid down some base color, I just want to go in and start adding in some depth and dimension by just adding in some different light and shadows and trying to understand where my light source is coming from. Light sources can be kind of tricky. You know, you gotta kind of work out what angle you want it to be coming from and where it would hit the most. But I think just working in your shading just really helps make a painting pop. It just really makes everything feel that much more finished. At this point in the painting, I was really starting to feel quite confident was where I was going with this. I was really liking this nice lilac skin tone. I thought that the background colors had that nice warm yellowy hue to it to really give you that sense of being in like a candle-lit old tavern, and I was feeling really good about it. And then I made a critical error. I got up to go to the bathroom and I didn't pick up my paints, and this happened. Yes, my toddler decided to help me with my masterpiece, and as you can see, he's done a great job. He's added a lot of beautiful dark purple all over, and at this point I just had to turn off the camera, step back, and take a breath and think, how am I gonna fix this? So once it all dried, I wiped off some of the excess, some of the buildup, and just went back in, redid my sketch over the top, started blocking out the colors again, and then I just relayed a white coat where I wanted there to be lighter colors, where I wanted the colors to stand out, and just started over. Well, not completely over, but over enough. But even though this was not ideal, I can't be too mad at it, because actually I thought some of the shading that I did the second time around and some of the coloring that I did the second time around I actually preferred. And it just goes to show that sometimes even just doing a second rendition of something like is going to make such a big difference. You know, if you're not liking how something's looking, don't panic, just go back over it and it will be okay. And now we're getting towards the end, and this is the part that I was really, really afraid of, and this is adding in those facial features. And I'm not gonna lie, they could have been better. They could have been a lot better, but they also could have been a lot worse. Working on an A4 size paper, it's quite small, her facial features are really tiny, my painting skill isn't that great yet, so I did really struggle trying to get those fine little details, and I did the best I can. But like I said, I'm hoping that in a year's time I can come back to this painting, maybe try it again, see how much I've grown, see how much I've learned, and hopefully I can make her even cuter next time. And here's our final review, and you know, I'm pretty happy with it. I think there's definitely some things that I need to work on. As I've said multiple times already, those facial features, I think the hair just doesn't have that lifelike, organic feel to it. It's a little bit too stiff and blobby. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how this came out. It really is giving off the atmosphere that I wanted it to. She's kind of got that approachable, almost kind of cheeky look to her, and I think, all in all, I'm pretty pleased with this one.